Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
And welcome, everybody. You're listening to the Tech Ranch. Have a great guest with me today. Somebody who just wandered into town and calls me out of the blue. We go out and have a steak at, where'd we go?
Rusty's Saloon.
That's right. Sarah Browers is here, and that's Broers.
Yes.
Sarabroers. I want to spell that out because I think there's about 100 ways you could spell your last name.
Probably.
But if you want to follow her, and you will after you listen to this, that's how you'll find her. And we'll remind you again. Sarah is a travel writer. She travels the country, is the founder of the Midwest.
I'm the co-owner of the Midwest Travel Network.
Thank you. So yeah, has a lot of travel experience. And you have been coming to North Dakota quite a bit since you were here a few years ago.
Oh, gosh. Yes, I have. I love North Dakota.
Yeah.
I love North Dakota. And I've had the opportunity to explore from the Northeast to the Northwest to the Southwest to the Southeast. I mean, all over the state. So it's incredible. I love North Dakota.
What I find interesting about this trip for you, Sarah, you get paid to do this. You're a travel writer. People, states, cities, businesses pay you to go to their places and write about them and talk about them and do wonderful things with them. You're actually on vacation, which means that first of all, I'm very honored that you actually took time off from your vacation. But the fact that you're vacationing here where I live, you're not working right now.
No, I'm not.
And you're here in Mandan, North Dakota. I just love that. I really do. Not that this is the only stop you've made. But,
but we have to get between here and Iowa. We have to get back home to Iowa.
That is true.
And I will say this, though. A lot of times we plan a lot of our travels when we're camping, places that I've been. My husband may not have been, but they're places that I know that he would enjoy. But he's actually been to Mandan and Bismarck before.
Okay, very
so
cool.
He's been here before. But we love the area. We're out at Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park camping. And if you've not been out there, we rode our e-bikes around yesterday.
Very
and
cool.
had a ball, had a blast.
And for those of you who are listening from away from here, so we are talking about North Dakota where I live. I know that there are people who listen to the show in all parts of the world, but I just feel that, we don't talk about our home a lot on the show. I just am honored that you are here and spending time in my hometown. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about technology and your life. You must use some tech while you're working to get you around, to write, to do the things that you do. So why don't we just start off with like your favorite technology? What do you use the most when you're working?
It's my smartphone.
Okay.
My smartphone is my keys to everything.
Okay.
And I will tell you, on this trip, we camped in the Bighorn Mountains. And there was a little bit of intention there because, as well as I do, my phone is my life.
Right.
It's my life.
Right.
But I felt like I needed to be disconnected from it. And I knew one of the few places in the country that I could go would be to camp in the Bighorn Mountains.
Yes.
And we camped there for 3 nights, and I had no cell service. And guess what? Everything's okay.
You did survive?
I survived. Everything is okay.
No.
And I encourage anybody to do that every now and then, just disconnect, because it is hard when we work in this space like we do. We use our phones, our lives. They're our businesses. They're what we do. They are what we do. And I think sometimes we forget that our mental health plays a part in our businesses and what we do, and we forget to take time for that. So I'm regenerated. I'm regenerated.
That's really interesting. So I host another show called The Absurdists. And it's just like what you think. We talk about absurd things. The very last thing we had was the absurdities of travel. And one of the most try saying absurd fast 3 or 4 times. One of the most absurd things that we talked about was the fact that people go and travel to places that are off the grid because you can simply turn it off.
Right. But it's hard when you're a travel writer.
Yeah.
It's hard. And believe me, I got a ton of stories out of this trip just vacationing with my husband. And it's been amazing. It's been incredible. Nothing's been planned, which I've loved. And people say, well, aren't you afraid you're not going to find a campsite? No, it's all worked out just fine.
So have you been to places that advertise themselves as off the grid?
Advertised as off the grid? No, I have not.
Okay.
Because you know why I wouldn't go there is because it's probably really crazy busy because it's advertised and I see it everywhere. I like to find those places that a lot of people don't know about.
Sure.
And that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But I obviously like to find places where I can see a little something about them. And I will say this, I do pride myself on helping a lot of destinations and places become more known because of what I'm putting out there.
Right.
You know,
And
and that's...
Your job really doesn't even exist unless we have technology, right? I mean, you need to have the social media.
I have to have that. The social media, I have to have that.
Yep.
And I'll be real honest, the past couple of weeks, I've been thinking about now, where can I put that video? How's that video going to work there? And I'm still working, but I'm not.
Right.
So it's fun. It's a dream job, a dream life, everything about it.
Very cool. Yeah. Do you have other technology that you travel with? Do you have any cameras or
My laptop is with me, but I have opened it maybe 3 times.
Okay.
I do know when I get home, I'm going to have to get very busy with that laptop, but that's okay. That's okay. No, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Interesting. Isn't it amazing when you think about what you carry now? I mean, if you were to do what you're doing now, let's say social media existed, but not the technology in your smart device, right? Think of the equipment you'd have to carry with you.
Yeah, I can take little notes on my phone. That's easy to do. Little notes, little recordings, those kinds of things. Because I came across some very interesting people on this trip, and pictures of people that work in the national forest.
Sure.
And having conversations with those people and learning some of the things about places I didn't know about. I'm still a question box, and I love that my husband's also a little question box too. Because when I have him with me, I learn some things that I don't think to ask.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, that's okay too.
He's a great guy, by the way.
Yeah, I think so too.
Met him the first time last night. I thought he was a fantastic to visit with. And of course, I think we laughed more than anything else last night.
Hey, laughter is good. Laughter is good.
Yeah. All right. So I'm assuming you rely on GPS quite a bit in your phone.
Oh gosh, GPS. Yes. But I can't tell you how many times this trip where GPS, we've had nothing. And that's where right. The Bighorn Mountains, we wanted to go offline.
Right.
And there's a lot of places in rural America. You still need to have an actual handheld map.
Right.
I'm a firm believer in that. And some people, they look at me like, what are you talking about? Trust me, I have been there. And this trip, I have been there. So
do you carry like a national atlas with you and all this? Yeah.
Yes. But what I need to get better at, and this does work, is if you can stop into a local tourism office before you venture into any remote areas, see if they have a local map for you.
Okay.
And get the tips from them if there's any road closures or anything like that. Because if you're traveling into an area, you may not know if there's a forest fire or if there's been heavy rains.
And GPS doesn't always update you, especially in those less traveled areas. But you're right, the local person would always know that.
Yep.
So we'll have more with Sarah after the break.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. Let's get back to discovering the latest in technology with the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And welcome back, everybody. Sarah Browers with Midwest Travel Writers. She is traveling across our state right now, state of North Dakota, and just happened to be in Mandan, spending the night here and everything last night. Had a great steak dinner. So honored to have you in the studio, Sarah. It's really great to have you here. So how do we find you online, by the way?
So you can find me online at travelwithsarah.com, no H.
Okay.
And you can find me on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are really my main places that I am. I'm on LinkedIn, and Facebook is where a lot of my audience hangs out.
Okay. So when you go to a place, and let's just pick on the Peace Gardens of
International Peace Garden. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful.
You were talking earlier, you think it's one of the most underrated places in the country.
I agree. I mean, it is. It is one of the most underrated places in the country. So I'm the author of some Iowa books, and I've been doing a lot of Iowa events and many public libraries across the state. And at my events, I don't necessarily talk about everything in the book. I talk about places I've been, where Sarah traveled to, and where's she going. And I tell people if they want to subscribe to my newsletter, which you can go to travelwithsarah.com and you can subscribe there. You're going to find information on A lot of it is Iowa, Kansas, and North Dakota.
Okay.
And people look at me and they say, there's stuff to do in North Dakota? Or there's stuff to do in Kansas? Yes. I know those states like the back of my hand about as well as I know the state of Iowa because I've spent a lot of time here. And that's thanks to the tourism folks for introducing me to a lot of these places. A lot of times I'm introduced through the tourism folks in a state or a town. And if I really like it, guess what? I'm going to come back.
Yep.
And I'm back.
Yep.
I'm back. I love North Dakota. That International Peace Garden, the stories that are up there amongst the beautiful flowers and gardens are incredible. And I'm not going to give it all away. You need to go visit. You really need to go visit and experience it because you will leave with a new appreciation of America and what we have to offer in our country.
Interesting.
It's powerful.
Now, I know you and I met for the first time 4 or 5 years ago now. I think it was right before COVID started.
It was in 2019.
Okay. And amazing that you remember that.
Oh, yeah. 2019, we had our Midwest Travel Network conference in Medora, North Dakota. And people say to me, you took a tourism conference to Medora, population 123? Of course we did.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you had a nice turnout for it. And I think most of the travel writers that were there were stunned by what's available in North.
Several of them, you may or may not know this, several of them extended their stay. They were there and didn't realize it was as awesome as it was. And I said to a couple of these people, how should we have marketed this differently? With social media and our website. And they looked at us and they said it sounded too good to be true.
Interesting.
That was the response. We couldn't have done anything differently. So it's been fun to really tell the story of Medora for the last 5 years.
Yep.
And that's all tied in with North Dakota.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's always these little hidden gems, One of my favorite little hidden gems, just 2 blocks from us here, by the way, is a Teddy Roosevelt statue. And when I say little hidden gem, even our residents don't realize that statue was dedicated 100 years ago this summer.
Wow.
And there was no fanfare about it or anything. And it's just one of 6 statues of Teddy Roosevelt of that particular casting. So,
with everything going on with the presidential library right now, this should have been a big to-do.
I agree with that. and up next, we actually have the mayor of Mandan up behind you here. And we'll talk about that a little bit because I think we should have a big to-do about that statue yet. But anyway, all right. So other technology you use, I'm assuming your camera is a go-to all the time.
My camera, I have a Canon camera but my phone. My phone works everywhere. So my smartphone works everywhere. And people have asked me, what camera do you use? And 99% of my photos are my smartphone.
I was just going to ask you that. So that's interesting. The quality that you get from
the quality that I actually get from my smartphone is better. And here's the deal. I probably don't know how to use that handheld camera the right way.
Sure.
My husband does a really good job with it, though.
Yeah.
He does a really good job with the actual handheld camera. And he did get some really good photos out at we came up on a cattle roundup in the Bighorn Mountains. And he had some fantastic photos of the cowboys in action. And those are really kind of fun.
Yep. So, it's interesting that even though you have a digital SLR that you use, that the camera on your phone is way more than adequate.
And I don't want to drag that around.
Yeah.
My smartphone fits into my pocket.
Yeah.
And the quality of the photos are really there. And as far as editing them, they're easy to edit, but 90% of my photos, I never have to edit. I don't change anything on them. So what you see online of my photos, that's me.
Yeah, you're not.
That's me. And I don't spend a lot of time editing photos. Maybe I should spend more time. I don't know. I'm all about being real.
Yeah.
And AI is great. It's a great tool to use. But you've seen on Facebook all these. I'm seeing a lot of national park photos that are labeled wrong. They're not this national park or that national park. But I will tell you this: if you're following Travel with Sarah, you're getting the real thing, the real deal. It's not something that is made up or made to look different than it is. What you see is what you get.
Do you use any travel apps at all?
I don't.
Or do you just when you're traveling, like on this trip here, you just this is a beautiful place. I'm going to try to figure out a way to stay here tonight.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't get into that so much. I literally like to travel. Like this trip right now, we literally left home and we're just going to figure out where we stay.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's wonderful. And as empty nesters, it's the best way to travel. It's the best way to travel, let me tell you.
I won't argue.
You don't feel like you're tied to anything, and it's just a sense of freedom.
Yep.
And even if you don't camp, for hotels and motels, you're always going to find something. But here's a little tip. If you are out west in the western part of the U.S., the little motels out west are great. And Route 66, there's great little motels there. What we love about the motels is you can back your car up right to the door.
Right.
And it's right there. So we're not traveling with a camper.
Yeah, like it was in the 50s and 60s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so easy.
Yeah.
Life seems so easy. It's a simple thing, but it just takes that stress out of parking your car, carrying all your stuff into a hotel and go in the elevator and go to wherever. I mean, we all do it, but if you can do that once in a while, just to take some added stress off, it's worth it.
So we're running in against the clock here. But do you have, just throw it again, how we find you and maybe one quick tidbit on travel.
So travelwithsarah.com with no H, and you can find me on all the social media. Just Google travelwithsarah.com or Sarah Broers, SarahBroers, and you'll find everything you can about me. Most importantly, I think enjoy travel and don't tie yourself down to one little thing. Be adventurous and be open to trying something new. Don't not do something because somebody told you it wasn't fun. Go and experience it for yourself.
That's fantastic. Again, one more time so people know.
Travel with Sarah, Sarah Broers.
Okay.
No H.
Okay. And you are on Facebook?
Twitter. Well, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. I'm on them all. TikTok.
All right. Fantastic. Hey, coming up next, everybody, we have the our new mayor of Mandan, Jim Freilich, and he's being joined by Mitch Bitts as well. So this should be interesting. Stay tuned.
And we're back. Don't miss a minute of the Tech Ranch as we explore the cutting edge of tech with Marlo and Steve. For more exclusive content, visit thetechranch.com.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch, everybody. Marlo Anderson, your guru of geek. I just wanted to say that because the mayor's sitting across from me. I've never introduced myself, so
I'm well aware of your geekness.
Well, in studio right now, we have Mitch Bitts. He is the Public Works Director here in Mandan, North Dakota, and we're also joined by our newly elected mayor, Jim Freilich. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Marlo. Nice to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So people might be wondering why we have you two on to talk about tech, but there's a lot of tech that goes into running a city, isn't there, Mitch?
There is. It's a lot more than meets the eye. People, they see the streets and they turn their water on and off, and that's about it. Yeah, they don't realize the tech that's behind all that.
Yep. And I think, everything from the monitoring of the water. I mean, I remember the days when somebody actually came by, which really wasn't that long ago. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I think the first thing I really want to delve into, and it's because some people have actually said that maybe I have a fetish for lights, but but I know that the city of Mandan, and I think you guys still are going through the transformation of changing the street lamps, the street lights to LED. How far are you along in that transition? And I really want to hear about the cost savings the city has experienced because of this.
Yeah, we're excited. I too suffer from the same condition. You converting everything to LED lights. It's very impressive, the technology in the
it is.
Couple of years. So starting in 2015, we started replacing $50,000 a year, which equated to 200 lights, something like that, of our total street light network. We're chipping away at it. And finally, we realized that even though we were adding more street lights over the course of the years by new developments and the cost of electricity was still going up, our electric consumption was going down, which was really interesting. So then it became a matter of, why don't we do a larger project and get all of our lights done at once instead of chipping away at it? And so we're actually just in the tail end of a project that changed out our entire street light network to LED lights. There's still a few stragglers out there, but by the end of the year, we hope to be completely converted to LED on our street light.
So what do you think the ROI is on this? I mean, are you thinking that you'll get your investment back in 28 years, in 3 years? What does this look like for the city?
Yeah, so we figured pretty conservatively on that 10 to 12 year mark.
Okay.
We're hoping to be saving money at that point. It costs us some capital up front, and I don't have the exact dollars in front of me, but about year 10 or 12, we should be return on our investment.
Because it's not just the cost of the lights; it's the cost. It's actually, and my guess would be, it actually costs more for manpower to replace them than the actual cost of the lights themselves.
Yes, we've experienced chasing after the old lights. The ballast or the new lights still have ballast issues, but not as frequently as the older lights,
right?
Bulbs and stuff like that. So,
the one thing that I've noticed a lot is, so we have across the street from where we're at, Mandan here, we have one of the new street lamps, and since the city switched them over, my cute little LEDs that I have in my front yard aren't as great because it's not as dark outside anymore. They throw a lot more light, don't they?
They do. We can adjust them a little bit. Some people don't like that light, but it is better for the traveling public and the safety.
Yeah,
public.
Have you noticed? And maybe this is for our police chief, but have you noticed a decrease in crime in the areas that you have better lighting? I mean, is there a national statistic that shows that, or?
That's a very good question, and I would defer to the police chief on that. But I would assume that yes, that's probably a fair statement.
Yeah.
I have a question
Yeah.
for Mitch. Have we been able to increase the distance between lamp poles?
Not yet with
Okay.
the technology. I suppose it's something that there's all sorts of different options you can spec out your lights. So as a technology, so incorporate to equate to less light poles, right?
Have you been incorporating anything like, the thing with LEDs, of course, is that it's not a typical bulb, so you can incorporate other technology like cameras and things like that. Are you, or have you incorporated any security at all in your lights as well?
We have not. Our traffic signals, we use
Okay.
go down some of those avenues. As far as a street light goes, there are some communities that are able to, adjust their street lights depending on the traffic, the brightness.
Okay.
The street lights. We did not implement any of that technology yet. So maybe someday.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, like home security stuff now, you can, put a light bulb in, and it's an LED light. It's a motion camera so that, your home security, your business security can take advantage of that video feed that's coming into. I've always thought that would be interesting, maybe for some intersections in cities and things that have a challenge with things that having a camera there. I get a little animated when I talk about this stuff. Please do this now, type of thing. Yeah.
It's an ever-changing industry.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So Jim, I know that you're new. You've been on the job, a month now, a month and a half?
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
Time just flies, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
I know that your eyes have been open to a lot of things, I'm sure, in the running of a city. But on the tech side, have you experienced anything yet that you were kind of surprised that our city has? Are you thinking about implementing some technology? I know it's a two-phase question there, but.
Well, it'll be interesting. So we've had an IT person, and I'll get into the tech aspect of this, but he also works for the police department. So,
So it's a dual role type of thing.
yes. So, and there, of course, there's a lot of technology on the squad cars, and but we just passed in our 25 budget a position for a full-time IT person, and then the the last councilman that came on, commissioner, has a background in IT.
Okay.
So I think between them and Mitch's mind, and we're also looking to hire a new public works director, because Mitch is also the fire chief. So what is your nickname? Fireworks?
Fireworks director.
Fireworks director.
Right in my line.
Yeah.
The fireworks. I love that. Yes.
I think there's a lot of untapped technology to be used as a predictive tool for water pipes, storms, and Mitch can elaborate on that also, snowstorms. But I think we're just scratching the surface pun intended, of where this would go.
So, all right, we'll continue our conversation after the break.
Thanks for staying with us on the Tech Ranch. Let's rejoin Marlo and Steve as they guide us through the fascinating world of technology.
And welcome back to the Tech Ranch, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We have some special guests in the studio today. Jim Freilick, our new mayor in Mandan, North Dakota. Mitch Bitts, he's the public works director, also the fire chief.
Yeah, for a little while.
What is your nickname right now?
Right now, they call me the fireworks director. Quite interesting.
So how long are you going to have the dual position, do you think?
A couple more weeks. We have a new director that's hopefully starting soon.
Okay, cool. I would imagine wearing two hats is kind of challenging in a city the size of Mandan.
It is. I'm not bored at night. That's for sure.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured. So, Jim, we were just talking over the break here. We have, I don't know if I want to pick up where we left off. Yeah, just finish up what your thought was before we went to the break.
Well, I said that Mitch could elaborate on this, but how he's using the last 6 years Mitch has been at Public Works, how he's implemented technology, and also what still needs to be implemented from a Public Works standpoint as far as a predictive index of where we're going to have problems, whether it be in a snowstorm, road wear, things of that nature.
Yep.
So,
right. So, yeah, thanks, Mayor. And as you mentioned, as we continue to evolve and grow in Public Works, it's, just a simple, the way we're utilizing GIS connected with GPS. So our mapping with our vehicle tracking software, and hopefully starting to migrate towards a work order management system as technology continues to evolve. It'll help us be intentional, and we'll spend money preventively instead of reactively on things, and it can help us, position our assets to be the most effective instead of reacting all the time, as we continue to grow.
So, can you give us some examples of this road wear thing? I wasn't even aware of this until this morning. So, what does that entail, for example?
So, just a very high level summary would be like, as we're doing our street reconstruction projects, it used to be we needed actual physical soil borings to determine the base of the road and the product underneath the road, and we could predict failure based on that. But it was very expensive, and it's a time consuming process, and therefore you don't cover the whole roadway. You have to pick and choose spots. Where the new technology, our consultant engineers use a vehicle mounted radar, which actually helps pin it or help us analyze the base material in that roadway. So we can just make more educated decisions with a lot more efficiency. So we're acting with intentionality, not guessing with our reconstruction projects.
Okay. So what about potholes? Does it help with that too?
So it does. Our potholes are pretty easy to find right now because we have plenty of them out there. But as we continue to be more efficient with our roads and they're better, this will help predict those.
Okay.
As we analyze our roads ahead of time, we can start to predict failure before it actually fails, where the driver notices it.
Can you talk real quick about what causes a pothole?
Yes. Well, North Dakota is the worst environment you could probably ask for a road. When I visit down south, I'm always jealous of their roads and sidewalks because they don't have the freeze-thaw cycles like we do.
Right.
So you get a little crack develops in your asphalt, and some moisture, whether it be snow or rain, gets in there. And then when the vehicles start driving across it, it's a simple function of hydraulics that the water gets compressed and it breaks apart the surrounding road material, and then it freezes at night and expands a little bit. And so it's just a never-ending cycle with the freeze-thaw. And so keeping that moisture out is key.
So the hydraulics of a car, let's say there's a little puddle of water and you have a crack right there. Every time a car drives over that, it's pressing that water at many, many pounds per inch, I'm sure.
Absolutely. That's absolutely a good way of summarizing it. It's every single time a car drives over it, it's breaking the road apart a little bit.
And the heavier the vehicle, the faster the vehicle, all these things weigh in, no pun intended on that, I guess,
yep.
on the breakup of the road when that starts to happen.
Yep. So the key to that is preventative maintenance, sealing ahead of time. And again, tracking our actions and our activities through a GIS system. So we know which neighborhood we last crack sealed. And then we can, utilize that. So we're not just driving around looking for stuff, but we're tracking it through GIS, and we're being very intentional with where we're spending our maintenance dollars to make them stretch as far as they can.
So if somebody calls in and some event like the flash flood we had a couple weeks ago happens, and somebody calls in and says, hey, yesterday my road was fine. Today I could lose my car if I drove over it. I mean, is there a priority scenario then that you guys would come out and fix that as quick as possible? Or is there always a maintenance schedule that you have to adhere to?
Yeah, it's like everything in life. There's a give and take and a balance. But yeah, we analyze each of those complaints or concerns on an individual case and make sure that they don't need immediate addressing. If they do need immediate attention, we get out there as soon as we can. Absolutely.
Interesting. So, Jim, you have anything else you want to weigh in on this? I didn't realize this is how potholes were made. I always just thought it was like water that got underneath the road and kind of chips away at it. I never even thought about the hydraulics of vehicles going over top of that. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And I would imagine like in our alleyway behind our studio here, that always seems to have a lot of potholes in it, right? Is it just because the alleyway, the road isn't constructed as well as what a main road would be? So when you have that hydraulic situation going on, it just exacerbates the issue?
Yeah. So the alleyways in particular are challenging for our staff. What drainage is huge and not a lot of grade to work with. And the other thing we have stacked against us is alleys are typically in the shade in the winter. So the snow melts on the roofs of the businesses, runs into the alley, and then it freezes at night, and so it just is a troubling situation for asphalt maintenance.
Interesting.
Well, and the other thing with alleys, that's the delivery corridor for the truck.
Right.
Heavy trucks.
Yep. Yeah, I guess that would make a lot of sense. Yeah. Interesting. Anything else? I mean, we only have about a minute left of this segment. So anything else on roads before we move into other technologies?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Porous sidewalks. Do you want to talk about
Oh, yeah. Porous sidewalks would be fun.
I was looking up some things yesterday because one of the residents in Mandan suggested precast roadways.
Yep.
I suggested they start with sidewalks, but in researching that, there's a product for porous sidewalks. So the water, let's just say you have a boulevard, but then the water would filter through the sidewalk. So it would be interesting, but again, with our environment, are you just inviting frost heaving with that sidewalk? Because now you've drenched the area underneath.
You almost have to have a drain shed or something underneath the sidewalk in order to get rid of the water anyway. Something like that, I would think. So very interesting. All right, everybody, we have Jim Freilich, new mayor of Mandan, and Mitch Bitts, the public works director, and we'll be back after the break.
If you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology. The Tech Ranch.
So, Jim, do you watch Netflix?
I do.
Do you have a genre that you tend to stick to a little bit, or do you like to watch all kinds of stuff?
It's all over the place, honestly.
I like the feature of downloading, by the way, because, with traveling, even the other day when I was flying back to town here, have you seen the Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy War?
Not yet.
I think that just came out, and I watched it on the plane last night. Watched most of it on the plane last night. Narrated by Ed Harris. And I love this style of documentary, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, you almost feel like you're in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they got this driving bass beat when these outlaws meet at the OK Corral. And I'm just like, this is a documentary? Are you serious? This is like exciting stuff. And the storytelling and all the nuances, because they talk about all the nuances around the OK Corral and how it actually impacted the entire nation. And you wouldn't think that a simple gunfight that broke out would have those type of ramifications, but it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Netflix, by the way, has a bunch of hidden codes.
Really?
I didn't know. You didn't know this.
I did not.
So if you go to Netflix-codes.com, so Netflix, Netflix-codes.com, and you can go there, and there is, I think, 3,800 subsets or subgenres that you can go and look in. So if one of the things with Netflix and any of the streaming platforms is that they kind of have this algorithm that they base on, like what you watch, and then
Sure.
suggest these others. And then it's like, are these the only shows that they have on these programs? You kind of get to that point after a while, right?
Yeah.
So 36,000 codes. I'm just reading through this right now. So you can type in, for example, and a code is a number. So you, in the search area, you would type in 43040, and you would get action comedies. And it would list all of the movies that it thinks it has for action comedies. 7442 is just adventure movies. But it lists all of them. It's not just like 8 of them or 14 of them or whatever. You get to see all of them. Of course, you can always search by, a type of genre or whatever as well. But I think you don't even realize the types of genres there are. 7,700 is just straight Westerns.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just type in 7,700 and it will list all the Westerns. I think that's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
36,000 of these subsets. And you can just go in there, and they have, if you go to Netflix-codes, and we don't represent them at all, just so you understand, but they have 15 subgenre or subsets for comedies. So you could just click on that, and it would give you those codes then for action comedies and romance comedies or whatever it is that you want to research. And
Okay.
And so it's pretty cool. Netflix-codes.com.
Cool.
I bet you're going to go there, aren't you?
I probably will.
Yep. Do you have a specific genre that you really like to watch?
Oh, I like mysteries and
Okay.
a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you could type in the mysteries codes, and you would probably have another, 8 or 10,000 hours of viewing opportunity for you.
For sure.
I don't know. I'm just making it up, of course. But yeah, check out Netflix-codes.com and find out all those codes that are out there to improve your Netflix experience.
Supertalk 1270.
Welcome to August 31st on the National Day calendar. Today we're embracing the great outdoors and enjoying a perfect snack for any adventure.
Let's kick things off with National Eat Outside Day. Whether it's a cozy backyard barbecue, a picnic in the park, or dining on a restaurant patio, eating outside brings a whole new level of enjoyment to your meals. There's something special about the fresh air and the sounds of nature that make food taste even better. It's a wonderful way to unwind, connect with nature, and spend quality time with family and friends. So, pack a picnic basket or fire up that grill and relish in the experience of dining al fresco today.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue.
The one downside of living in North Dakota is that you can only eat outdoors for a few months every year.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah, but there's a restaurant along the river that's come up with a great solution. They have these little plastic igloos with their personal heaters, all superheated, so you can eat outside even in the middle of winter.
I love that idea. That's cool. I like it.
And what's a better snack to eat outside than some trail mix? It's National Trail Mix Day. This versatile snack has been a favorite for hikers and outdoor enthusiasts for years. Packed with a mix of nuts, dried fruits, seeds, and sometimes chocolate or candies, trail mix is a perfect blend of energy and flavor. Its origins can be traced back to the indigenous peoples of North America, who combined dried meats, berries, and fats to create a high-energy food. Whether you're hitting the trails or just looking for a convenient snack, trail mix is a delicious and nutritious option.
I love trail mix. What do you put in yours?
I generally will just buy it, but it usually has like M&Ms and peanuts, mixed nuts, raisins. But I'm really partial to some of the spicier ones. Like I have this one that's like a Texas Cajun flavor. I thought I was going to get that so my kid would stop eating the M&Ms out of the trail mix, but now he's taking to eating my Tex-Mex.
That is actually funny. I love Tex-Mex. The best.
Yep.
Not a real sweet girl. Like, I don't like the sweet one. I like the more flavorful one. Did you bring some?
Well, I ate it this morning.
Wow, Chris, seriously?
I was outside.
Okay, I'm headed to get some Tex-Mex. I'm LaToya Johnson.
And I'm Chris Vandeventer.
Thank you for joining us on our journey to celebrate every day.
Until next time, keep celebrating.
Welcome to the School for Startups Minute with Jim Beach.
Today, I want to talk about how to be more patient. With instant gratification and 24-hour access to our phone and the TV and all of those movies, it's almost impossible to ever not have something to do. And it's bad for us. We need to learn to just sit quietly and think. We don't need constant stimulation. So right after this, I'll share some advice on being more patient.
This is Dr. Michael Garko for Strauss Naturals. The heart is only a bit larger than a fist. Each day it pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels. With this extraordinary workload, I encourage you to take Strauss Heart Drops to help support a healthy cardiovascular system. The Heart Drops are backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee, no questions asked. Visit StraussNaturals.com to learn more and order the Heart Drops today.
One way to be more patient is to change your perception of the situation. Instead of saying, oh, this person is 15 minutes late, say, oh, great, I have 15 minutes to get caught up on my email or to take a little nap and to close my eyes and rest. Change what you think is going on and you'll be happier about the situation and you won't get upset and become impatient. More tomorrow.
Supertalk 1270. KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a town square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Still no cause to a deadly crash on a Mississippi interstate overnight. Authorities say 7 people died, more than 36 others injured after the passenger bus overturned. A tow truck operator on scene with first responders described the mangled crash.
About 1 o'clock this morning when we got the call, and we had to get the bus stood up to get it where the bodies had come through the windows.
Police say no other vehicles were involved. Limited pauses in fighting began today in sections of Gaza to help facilitate UN polio vaccinations for children, but Israel also carried out fresh airstrikes in central Gaza and also continue to carry out raids in the occupied West Bank. This holiday weekend, health officials urging people to take precautions when outdoors. Mosquito-borne viruses on the rise. 2 people died of West Nile virus in New Jersey, and Wisconsin also reported 2 deaths, and Massachusetts health officials recorded a human case of the triple E virus, also spread by mosquitoes. The search intensifies in California for a U.S. Marine who went missing last week.
Military and local law enforcement at and around Camp Pendleton joining the search for 23-year-old Lance Corporal Bailey Cameron. His mother, Juliana England, says it's not like him not to check in.
He's very close with his family. He makes sure that we always know where he is.
Cameron last seen leaving a local bar around 1:30 in the morning alone. His backpack, glasses, and phone found a day later nearby. His mother's plea to the public.
Just please speak up if you think you know anything at all, if you have any leads.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
Tributes pouring in for NHL star Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, both killed in New Jersey Thursday while riding bikes by an alleged drunk driver. He's also facing charges.
On Friday, fans and mourners gathering to pay their respects outside the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio, where John played left wing for the Blue Jackets. His former team, the Calgary Flames, honoring number 13 on their scoreboard.
ABC's Ika Jachi, Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Bills piling up? Rent due? Need cash help but have bad or no credit? Then you need to go to FastLoansAI.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 regardless of your credit score. FastLoansAI.com is one of the largest lender networks. Their advanced technology can help anyone get up to $10,000. Best part? Money can be in your bank account as fast as the same day. When you need fast cash, go to FastLoansAI.com. That's FastLoansAI.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Supertalk 1270, Bismarck area weather.
With your forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. For today, sunshine and windy with a high near 82. Winds about 25 to 30 out of the northwest this afternoon. For tonight, mostly clear, still a bit breezy with a low around 50 degrees. Sunny, high of 76 for Sunday. Labor Day, sunny, 84. If you're looking for a new place to live, stay, work, or play, check out Worthington, Minnesota. It's worth a look. Right now, it's 80.
From ABC Sports, I'm Joey Waller. Right now, college football, third quarter, top-ranked Georgia 13, Clemson nothing. Penn State up 20-6 at West Virginia. Iowa 12, Illinois State nothing. Vanderbilt 17, Virginia Tech 10. Maryland over UConn 23-zip in the second. Tennessee a 45-0 bulge on Chattanooga. An Instagram message today to late Blue Jackets forward Johnny Gaudreau from his widow Meredith. Gaudreau and brother Matthew killed in Thursday's auto accident in New Jersey. In part, Meredith writing, quote, "Despite losing you, I'm still the luckiest girl in the world to have been yours," unquote. The Gaudreau's coach at Boston College, Jerry York, reacting to the tragedy.
It was shocking news to us. It was just such a hard reality when you wake up in the morning and hear that.
Elsewhere, U.S. Open third-round stunner last night. Novak Djokovic upset by 28th-seeded Australian Alexei Popyrin in 4 sets.
Life moves on. I mean, it's just trying to recalibrate and look for what's next.
Third round today, the man who upset Carlos Alcaraz, Botic van de Janskop of the Netherlands, loses his first set versus Jack Draper. Jessica Pegula and Jasmine Polini win today. WNBA last night, Fever winners at Chicago, 181. Caitlin Clark, a career-high 31 points, plus 12 assists.
I just had a lot of fun playing. I thought we played with a lot of joy. We played up-tempo. We shared the ball well. That's how you build your confidence, is just one day at a time. But I think our confidence is, at an all-time high of where it's been this all season.
And the league-leading Liberty roll at Seattle 98-85. Brianna Stewart scores 32. Interleague baseball right now top 4. Cardinals 4, Yankees 1. Brendan Donovan a 3-run homer. Resuming next hour toward championship at Atlanta. The leader Scotty Scheffler 20 under. Xander Schauffele and Colin Morikawa 5 shots back. Joey Waller, ABC Sports.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Bills piling up? Rent due? Need cash help but have bad or no credit? Then you need to go to FastLoansAI.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 regardless of your credit score. FastLoansAI.com is one of the largest lender networks. Their advanced technology can help anyone get up to $10,000. Best part? Money can be in your bank account as fast as the same day. When you need fast cash, go to FastLoansAI.com. That's FastLoansAI.com.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit,
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Don't miss a minute of the Sean Hannity Show.
I know that there is a segment of society that would love a perpetual shutdown, and I guess we could live in a bubble, but who's going to build the bubble if everybody shuts down?
Weekday afternoons starting at 2 on Super Talk 1270.
Portions of the following program are pre-recorded.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, as much fun as that was, Mitch.
Yes,
and I know I'm a geek, so I love all of the things in the geekdom world, even when it comes to road construction. But I am very excited to talk about this next project that we're going to be working on in Mandan. So basically, Mayor Jim, I think you're going to get the honors to tell everybody what it is that we'll be doing, because to me, this is something very near and dear to me, and I'm so excited that we're doing something about this.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is a project near and dear to your heart, and I just wrote to a couple of my friends this morning, and I'm going to digress a bit and get a shameless plug in for NDSU football.
Okay.
But I said, a win for NDSU could wind up being a loss.
Okay.
It's Colorado. Meaning they're getting a lot of national exposure, and come portal time at the end of the season, they all might be gone. Okay. Because they're that good and everybody gets to see them.
Right.
So here's where I'll go with this. So the 4th of July, we get how many thousands of people in here?
A lot.
A lot.
There's estimates from 30 to 100,000.
Okay. Great. But they all see Crying Hill.
Yep.
And that's when all the complaints started coming.
Sure.
And so we had a great day, 4th of July weekend, and then it was like, why does the hill look so bad? And of course, you live here. You don't see, on a day-to-day basis, it just doesn't register in your head that everything's growing up on the hill.
Right.
But people that came back to town, years absence, they're going, you let the hill go. And as you know, we only own 2 letters. The city of Mandan only owns 2 letters of Mandan, and the 3 affiliated tribes own the other one. So what's great about what we're doing, because we're going to refurbish the hill, we're going to cut down all the trees, but we had to get a lot of entities together in a hurry, and they all agreed. The 3 affiliated tribes said, yes, you can go on tribal land, because it is a sacred hill. And there's a reason it's called Crying Hill. So we have to be very sensitive going up there, and the work we need to do, which is to cut down all the trees.
Well, and I think I want to stop you right there just for a second, because everybody's thinking, why are you cutting down all these trees, right? Well, there's a reason for it.
Well, I'll tell you, and I made the comment the other day, because somebody from Public Works said, you want us to cut down all the trees? And I said, look, the Flower Society and the Boy Scouts didn't plant these. They're not in any type of order. They just sprouted up. In fact, there's a tree coming through a letter.
Yes.
And they need to go.
Yep. Well, and the other thing, that whole little thing that's going on down below, I went out and took some photos of that here a week or 2 ago, and there's a lot of signs of Dutch elm disease going on in there. And, we don't want to destroy the current elm tree population in the city by introducing more Dutch elm. So it's already been devastating to our city.
Yeah. So this, that just proves when you neglect something, nature will come back.
That's true.
Right?
Yes.
And so you were last up there.
It's 11 years ago.
Okay.
Since I painted those letters, I actually dug into this a little bit. They figure that an outdoor painted surface, concrete surface, should be repainted at least every 3 years. If you do something, something great on it, then it's probably 4 to 5 years. With this technology that we had at that time, I'm assuming that the technology that we have now will hopefully last a lot longer than the last time I touched those.
Yeah, it's going to be an industrial paint designed for that purpose. I don't know about glow in the dark, Marlo, or LED lights, but
anybody who wants glow in the dark letters, contact Mayor Jim, because I think it'd be cool to have glow in the dark. But I think LED lights would be cool too.
Yeah,
yeah.
So we're gonna be using some tech up there.
Yeah,
since we'll talk about tech. So one, and again, Mitch, jump in here. One of it, we'll be using skid steers because the majority of it up to the letters is not flat, but it certainly doesn't encumber a skid steer. There's no tipping danger with that. So we'll be using, I don't know, what's the name of the blade on there?
Yeah, we'll be using a track skid steer with the forestry cutter mounted on the front of it.
Which is just a rotary drum with nice carbide cutters that'll take a tree down and reduce it to just sawdust.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So all those trees up there, one guy operating, and it's a special skid steer too. It's got to have shatterproof glass and a carbon top. So it's reinforced. So in case a tree should come down.
I think, again, if everybody's listening, we're not talking about the south side facing where the trees are there that spell Mandan. Those are staying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were planted with a purpose.
We're talking about the trees that have emerged below the white painted letters on the east side of the hill.
Correct.
Yeah.
On Mandan Avenue, facing Mandan Avenue. And that you can see from Interstate 94 as you go around the city. And then Bobcat Manufacturing is participating, and they're bringing a prototype of some sort that will be able to scale that grade around the letters, because it does get steep there.
It does.
And we were assured no problem, just watch.
Really?
Yeah, and he'll be able to cut everything on that slope.
That's amazing.
And that it'll be driverless. So there's your what is it that cleans your floors at home?
Yeah, my robot, my Roomba.
Or your lawnmower.
I have my lawnmower that cuts my grass as well. So yeah.
So this will be a larger version of not so much autonomous. I think it'll be more like operating a drone or something.
Right.
You'll have to have some remote control.
Yep. But it's interesting. That hill is pretty steep, and I know when they were planting the trees on the one side, there was a vehicle that they had up on the side of the thing that rolled down.
Oh,
that's how steep that thing is. So it's a challenge and a safety issue, and to have a manless vehicle that can do the work that it needs to be done is fantastic.
So I think the first thing we agreed upon, and Mitch was involved in all this, was the less people on the hill, the better. So we can do this with machines, tech. And, you started this about a week ago.
Yep.
As we talk about tech involvement.
I had to cut you off right there. We'll talk more about this next break, everybody.
Thanks for staying with us on the Tech Ranch. Let's rejoin Marlo and Steve as they guide us through the fascinating world of technology.
And you're back with the Tech Ranch, everybody. Mayor Jim Freilich, our newly elected mayor of Mandan, Mitch Bitts, Public Works Director here in Mandan, North Dakota. And we're talking about Crying Hill and the work that's about to commence on there. And Jim, I cut you off there right before the break. Continue with your thought, please.
Okay, so we want to relate this to tech. So you went up there 2 weeks ago, I think.
I think so, yeah.
You and Logan, your grandson.
Yep.
And you used a drone.
Yep.
And instead of, crawling up on that hill and taking a big long walk around that hill, you flew it with the drone.
Yep.
And when you gave me the footage of it, and so we had our meeting that following Monday, because I think you did it on a Sunday.
I think so, yeah.
And that's the what we use to make our decisions.
Oh, cool.
So we just the other day visited the site. Otherwise, we've been watching it on the monitor.
Well,
and making decisions.
I hope the video was well, obviously it's been good enough to use. So that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That technology of using a drone, and with the growth on that hill right now, I think I told you the last time I was up there and worked on them 11 years ago, we actually had 2 rattlers up there that we had to deal with too. And Mitch is like, what?
I'm not a snake.
There's rattlesnakes up there?
That's my last trip up there the other day, I think.
Nice, good, warm day. You never know what you're going to run into up there, I think. But that's the thing, right? We were in shorts and whatever else, we certainly don't want to be scaling that hill with that chance as well. So having a drone that goes up there, and we can fly the drone within a couple feet and we did, as you noticed.
Yes.
That got you some really good shots of those. So it helped.
We're looking to do this around September 24th or 26th.
Oh, wow.
To clear the hill.
Okay.
The letters have to be scraped. How we're going to do that's yet to be determined. Brian Dirk from the city is kind of Public Works. Mitch has appointed him to spearhead this. And then we'll paint. And the painting all depends this year on the ambient temperature.
Okay.
So if we get a cold October, the letters probably won't get painted this year.
Okay.
But the hill will be cleaned up and ready to go in the spring.
Cool.
So next 4th of July, Marlo, we shouldn't get any complaints because there were a lot of them.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it from the interstate, and you're right. If you live here and you drive by it every day, it's gradual. It's just like the house that's not being taken care of, and you don't realize the grass is growing and growing and growing until you drive by one day and you're like, oh my goodness, this place needs an overhaul. And that's kind of where we're at with it, I think.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this. I love how the community has come together to do this. And sometimes it takes something getting to the point that it got to for the community to start doing some things. And you had other groups actually that were trying to get something organized as well, right?
Right. So the guys at the Moose Club got involved. The Boy Scout troop, I forget which one, but they're based out of the Moose. And also the Travis Albers out of the public school system got his students involved also. And we threw this out. We want to have T-shirts and we want to have a theme for the T-shirt. And so those students are working on it. They're in the high school.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So, and a lot of them are members of 3 affiliated tribes.
Okay.
MHA.
Yep.
But they live down here. So they're in that club. And so they're going to participate. So yeah, we try to include everybody. And
so then ongoing, once you have the hill to where you like it, is there a plan for maintenance now moving forward as well?
Yes, and I'll let Mitch speak on that.
Yeah, so as the mayor mentions, we're excited as well. We've heard, for the past several years, we've heard some concerns about the hill, and we finally got the right players at the table to help us get something done up there. But yeah, ongoing maintenance, we're still working out the details of that. But yes, we do plan to maintain it to prevent those volunteer trees from populating and becoming overgrown like they had in the past year.
Okay, cool.
And I'm trying to convince Mitch to submit in his budget some sort of mower.
Yes. we have looked at the automatic or autonomous mowers, and we're continuing to explore that. And I think there's some opportunity in several areas around our city, not just that.
Yeah, we got some pretty good landscape around town.
Yeah.
Could use it.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you from personal experience, I have one.
Okay.
And I love the 2 hours a week that I've gotten back because I don't mow my yard anymore. I mean, I've had a lot of work done on my yard this year for other things, and it's not working like it normally should. But so I might spend 5 or 10 minutes a week, maybe moving the mower because it gets hung up someplace until I get my mower or my lawn back in place. But generally speaking, it's impressive. And what I love about it too is that the grades that it can handle. I mean, I've gone out and helped other people set up their autonomous mowers, and like along the river, for example, places that you would normally use a rope. I mean, this is how they were mowing it before. They would have a rope on the mower, and they'd roll it down and roll it back up. And this mower, the autonomous mower, handles the grade just fine.
Yeah, the rope and mower, that's probably not the safest. But
the safest.
I've done it.
Yes.
I've seen it. Yeah, this is a little bit better, I bet.
Absolutely. So I think the Hill would be a perfect place to have that. And I'm sure you've looked at maybe some other parks or whatever, and even the cost savings. And I shouldn't even say cost savings to the city. I think our staff is way overworked in the city, and there's probably better things that they could be doing than mowing stuff all the time in the summer. But they want to keep the city looking nice, so they do these things. If they didn't have to spend so much time mowing, there'd be other things that they could do that would improve our city as well.
Right. Yep.
Well, you know, I've been thinking about this. Is it just aesthetics when we cut the grass? Because a lot of people think that, but as you get more into it, and the stormwater, waterways, the dike, public safety for encampments that get overgrown and everything, and all of a sudden you got people in there, and things happen that you can't see from the roadway. So I'll let Mitch elaborate on this a little more. The whole mindset behind mowing in a city.
Okay. Yeah. And so as the mayor mentioned it, it's aesthetics. That's one thing. But yes, getting out there, making sure that stuff doesn't become overgrown, or pretty soon it turns into the overgrown trees up on the hill, stuff like that. The stormwater management, the vegetation needs to be maintained so that it can flow and convey water. Like that storm we had last week or 2 weeks ago, we had some issues where water not conveying properly.
Yep. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. I also think about mosquitoes, rats, all those other things too. I mean, the mosquito population can get out of control with overgrowth as well. We'll be back after the break, everybody.
You're listening to The Tech Ranch, where technology comes alive. Let's dive back into the conversation with Marlo and Steve. And don't forget to check out thetechranch.com for more.
And we're back. We have Jim Freilich, our newly elected mayor in Mandan. Mitch Bitts, he's our I don't know. What is your nickname again?
Yeah, they call me the fireworks director.
The fireworks director. So you're the acting director for
Public Works.
Okay.
And I get the pleasure to serve as the fire chief and then help with the Public Works. I almost called it the fireworks department.
So when you're done with both hats, what will your title be at that time?
Fire chief.
Okay, so you'll just go back to being full-time fire chief.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I have no idea
Fun stuff.
How you ended up with this job, but okay. Pretty amazing. Hey, we were just talking about Crying Hill and the work that's going into that. I know this is the Tech Ranch, but we're weaving some the city of Mandan things with tech, which I think is interesting because a lot of cities have to use tech. In fact, I would say every city in the country now uses some type of technology in their day-to-day operations. Mitch was just talking about utilizing maybe some autonomous mowers in our parks now. Have you targeted any spots yet where maybe a self-driving mower or autonomous mower might make sense?
Yeah, so we haven't implemented yet, but some of the goals that I have in my mind are our downtown park. That I think that'd be a good location. It's visible. It's predictable. We know when there's going to be events in there. We can schedule it. There's utilities there. Another spot would be probably like one of our Lakewood Fire Station, maybe something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got a couple areas in mind. We just haven't fully executed on it yet, but we have been in contacts with some vendors and kind of going back and forth with them about what will work best for us and try and help us develop a plan.
Cool. I love that. I really do. I think that's really, really cool. Any other technologies? Let's go into the water metering thing a little bit. I think didn't I read something recently too that there's something new coming about there as well?
Yeah, so that's a big one. Years ago we had physical water meters with a dial that spun around in your basement, and we literally sent people door to door, and they'd write down your water meter reading every single month. That's how you get your bill. In about 2015, maybe a little bit before, we transitioned to automatic reading meters. So we have 2 towers in our city that collect your meter readings every 30 seconds. We get a meter reading off of everybody's.
Oh my goodness. I didn't realize it was that often.
Yeah. And that technology, it does so much more than just capture the usage of the water. With some of our newer meters, we're able to monitor the pressure of our network, our distribution network. So if there's a water main break, as we implement more and more of these meters, we'll be able to know that we have a loss in pressure somewhere or a problem with the pump before we start getting phone calls from a concerned citizen, So there again, we're being proactive instead of reactive for our citizens. We can monitor temperature. Some people have water lines that aren't buried at the proper depth. So as the technology continues to evolve, we'll be able to help notify those people that, hey, you might have an issue. You might want to do something to prevent your water from freezing as the temperature continues to drop, because cold comes, even though it was 100 degrees last week or almost, but cold is coming. So that's another really cool technology with the water meters.
Interesting. So I actually had a water break experience here recently.
Yeah.
And,
Sorry.
Happened in my driveway. And right at that juncture, I don't even, I'm not a plumber. I don't know enough about it, I guess, but the juncture where it comes off the main into the house, right?
Okay.
And the main broke right there and had a nice little fountain coming out of my driveway when it's, 10 degrees outside. That was exciting.
Yeah.
I think even more exciting for my neighborhood because the street became an ice skating rink and, all that good stuff. And it was recently chip sealed too. So there was all that exact, a lot of more exciting things that were going on because of that. But so you're saying then that you would, if I'm gone for a period of time or whatever, and nobody called it in or wherever, you would actually be able to determine that with these sensors now that there's a high level of water being used in this particular area or what have you.
Yes. And we don't have it across our entire network yet. But as we continue to install and that technology evolves and the interface becomes more available, yes, these meters can basically acoustically detect leaks even before the meter. So they can hear something's not right.
Okay.
Using computer technology to detect that stuff rather than human intervention.
And how? So I guess the first question I have is why every 5 seconds? Is it just because of this? It seems like that's a lot of information to be getting every 5 seconds.
It was every 30 seconds, but still, that's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
I think and those are all adjustable parameters, but that's what we're reading on right now.
Okay.
I don't know the why. I guess I can't answer that.
Okay. It is interesting. I mean, that's a lot of data. I'm just thinking that's just a lot of data, but there's a reason for that. To kind of switch gears a little bit now, the technology that's used for first responders, like when they're responding to a fire and that type of thing, the first thing that comes to mind is stoplights, right? Can you talk about how that technology works in Mandan?
Yeah. So, I mean, there again, it's another industry that just, from when I started at the fire department in 2001 as a volunteer firefighter, the technology just continues to change. Everything from the way we receive our dispatches, a lot of it's done through our cell phones. So no matter where they're at, it used to be a concern of radio coverage. And so everything's done through cell phone. The call notes are sent out to everybody responding to that call. So they're able to monitor those in real time. The mapping, all of our apparatus have, tablets in them. So we're keeping track of the address points and it shows up on the map, gives directions how to get there. As we're going through stoplights, you mentioned the preemption device. So we have the technology that turns the traffic lights green. So that keeps the traffic moving and allows our apparatus to move through that intersection safely. It continues to just evolve and evolve and evolve.
I find it interesting. As you probably know, I travel a lot across the country, and like when I'm in Vegas or LA or whatever, they do not have that technology. Really? I mean, I'll be sitting at a traffic light, waiting, and the other lane or the other side's going, right? And here comes an ambulance or a fire truck or whatever, and they're slowly creeping out into the intersection, hoping that people will see.
Yeah.
I've actually watched cars run into first responder vehicles because the light isn't changed, and it's very dangerous for them at these intersections.
Well, it's interesting because you think Mandan, North Dakota or Bismarck, North Dakota, they can't be cutting edge, right?
Yeah.
But then you go talk to people who work in these bigger departments or larger municipalities, and for those kind of agencies to implement the same change that we want to implement, I mean, they're 10x.
Oh,
problem,
yeah. So that's true. I never even thought about the cost that would be involved in just switching it over. But, it does. There's no doubt about it. It certainly saves lives, and it saves the people who own property in the area money too. And we'll get into that after the break.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. We're thrilled to have you with us as we continue exploring living with technology alongside Marlo and Steve.
And we are back. And this is a very, very interesting conversation. We have Jim Freilich, our newly elected mayor in Mandan, and Mike Bitts. He's the normally Mitch. What did I say, Mike? Sorry, Mitch.
Mike's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Mike's the superintendent.
Yeah.
Dr. Bitts.
Yeah. There you go. So he's the acting. I'm all flustered here now. So what does Mitch actually do again?
Fire chief and help with public work.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So on the public work side, we were just talking about that a little bit ago, but we're talking about first responders now and the ability to get through intersections when there's an emergency. So what is that technology called?
So it's preemption.
Okay.
And so we have essentially it's a strobe light that flashes at a certain frequency. And I know the rumor was when I was in high school that if you flash your headlights fast enough, you could get the lights to trip. And I'm here to tell you that doesn't work. But keep trying. For the people who make your headlight flashers probably appreciate that.
I'm sure there's a TikTok video about that that's kind of viral, right? If you do it fast like this, it'll change the grain. Yeah. All right. So what do you think, and maybe you have stats on this, response time, right? I mean, have you cut response time by 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, simply because you can control the traffic lights now?
And I don't know if it's so much response time. Yes, that's absolutely part of it, but it's just it's a margin of safety, and trying to quantify that is probably hard. What accident did we avoid, or what collision did we avoid is probably the bigger question. And being our apparatus are large and they're heavy and they're moving fairly fast. When they do hit something, it's probably pretty detrimental to the smaller vehicle.
Right.
So I think it's probably more about safety than it is the response time,
And maybe, Jim, you might be more versed in this, but isn't there, if you can have a response to your house within 5 minutes after you call in a fire, isn't there a direct relation to that and the amount of insurance that you pay for homeowners insurance?
There has been talk of that because, so these standards have been floating around, response time, staffing at firehouses, staffing of police departments, and the insurance end of it, nobody's been able to quantify with anybody from the insurance industry. What does that, if let's just say the industry standard is 9 minutes and we do it in 7, what does that mean to your homeowner's insurance?
So at this time, there's
nobody quantified it. I was talking to the Bismarck mayor a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of chuckled because he's been looking for that information also, because it certainly benefits the citizens.
Yep.
And regardless if it lowers your house insurance, us getting there quicker is a benefit to you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I mean, the difference and Mitch, I bet you can speak to that directly. I mean, the difference between a minute and 5 minutes is very significant, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there used to be that a fire doubled in size every minute left unchecked.
Oh my.
That was the olden days when you were burning real wood furniture and straw.
Right.
Now it's all hydrocarbons and plastics. So, I mean, some studies are suggesting that a fire quadruples in size in a minute when it's unchecked. I mean,
wow.
You look around this room and look at the synthetic materials.
It's all
it burned a lot hotter, a lot faster.
Yeah.
And the off gassing is extremely toxic. Yeah, it's yeah. So
it's not
interesting stuff.
It's not like a wood fire of a house in the past. Yeah,
right.
Interesting. All right, so jumping to another technological challenge, I've been in situations or around electrical vehicles that have caught on fire, and I've watched fire crews walk away from, as soon as they realize that it's an electric vehicle, they literally walk away from it. And I would imagine just because they don't have the equipment to fight them, and I'm just telling you what I think. I would imagine it could be like a bomb that could go off. There's just all kinds of scenarios. It's just significantly more dangerous than what a regular combustion engine or vehicle is. So can you talk about that a little bit? I know we don't have a lot of electric vehicles running around the Mandan, Bismarck area, but we have some, and it's growing.
Yep.
Do you talk about this at all and what could happen?
Absolutely. That's a good question, and very, very, very valid point, because as I look around, it's more and more of these electric vehicles and electric equipment. So yes, we do train on it. It is different. Our strategy needs to be adjusted to account for the battery compartments of these vehicles,
because you don't throw water on these things.
And if you do, you need to throw 50 times the amount of water on it to prevent this thermal runaway. And then when you do that, now you create a runoff issue. So we're working with our partners in Bismarck and ourselves, trying to identify. There's a couple things like some fire blankets, some sprinklers that you can put underneath the vehicles and stuff like that to mitigate these fires when they do occur. And so we're just trying to find that balance of what, if we can maybe share some of that equipment, or one of us gets it and the other one doesn't, but if the other one needs it, they can call mutual aid, those kind of things. So yeah, we're working on it, and it's definitely an evolving technology that we need to be prepared for. So
a fire blanket, basically, if you can get it over the top of the car, it just smothers the flame. Is that kind of how that works?
Yep. Tries to reduce the oxygen that the fire can consume, and then we essentially cover it with this fire blanket, and then get this. It's like a sprinkler that goes underneath the car. And the problem is these battery compartments are built to be protected if they're in a crash. So the problem is we can't access them with the fire, so that's where it becomes a challenge.
And they get hot.
And they go into thermal runaway, and it's kind of stand back and let it do its thing.
So what is the temperature? Have you heard how hot these things get?
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I know it's quite warm, obviously.
Well, I've seen the one I'm thinking of in particular. I drove by it. I seen it in LA.
Okay.
And I drove by it a day or two later. And I mean, there was nothing left of the road.
Really?
I mean, it was just black, and I mean, it just burned it away. So I was just like, oh my goodness, this thing had to be just crazy hot.
Yeah. And, so the road is one thing, but what concerns us is when they start being inside of parking structures or inside houses and stuff like that.
Yeah. Interesting. You look like you had something to say on this, Jim.
Well, I was going to, you brought up insurance. And, so whether it's the electric bikes, because I've heard those catching on fire.
Yeah, they do.
And so I go and buy a Tesla or another model electric car. And what does that do to my homeowner's insurance?
That's a great question,
because that's going to burn the house down.
Because you have to think about, I mean, a Tesla, not to pick on Tesla, because there's plenty of other electrical vehicles now, or electric vehicles, but they, the big thing, of course, is that you can charge them for a lot less than what it costs us for gasoline. Not so much here. I mean, when you have a kilowatt hour, that's 8.9 cents compared to what it is in California, and gas at $7 a gallon compared to, we're at the break already. We'll be right back, everybody.
If you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology. The Tech Ranch.
Supertalk 1270.
This is Outdoor Issues with Neil Roberts and North Dakota Game and Fish outreach biologist Greg Gullickson.
It's time for football, and deer seasons are about to kick off as well. Greg, it all starts with the archery season. Tell us more about it.
We have a couple different deer seasons in North Dakota. And the first one that starts is North Dakota's deer bow season. August 30th at noon marks the date, and that's a long one that continues all the way through January 5th. So if you like swatting mosquitoes or having to put on a few extra layers of clothes, the archery season is for you. And then coming up in November is the deer gun season, and the muzzleloader season follows shortly after that. So if you're an archer out there, bow hunters can buy a license online. That's a quick and easy way to get it at the North Dakota Game and Fish Department's website, gf.nd.gov, or you can also purchase it at vendors linked to the department's online licensing system, and there's a complete list of those on the Game and Fish Department website. However, if you're a hunter, an archer, you should plan accordingly and allow time to receive the tag in the mail, as the tag will arrive by postal mail and not over the counter. So this changed a few years ago. So you just can't simply expect to walk into anywhere and get that tag. So this applies to purchasing bow licenses from a licensed vendor or at the Game and Fish Department's main office in Bismarck. The bow tag will be mailed the next business day after the license is purchased.
Good stuff, Greg. Hey, more on the bow season when we come back.
Let Skydancer Casino and Resort be your destination for entertainment and gaming. Get ready for an unforgettable night of MMA action at Skydancer Casino and Resort on August 31st. Define the Fight brings together elite fighters from around the world. Then multi-instrumentalist and platinum-selling artist Hunter Hayes will be on stage Saturday, November 2nd. And this fall, win Minnesota Vikings tickets for Vikings home games. Go to SkydancerCasino.com for all the details. That's Skydancer Casino and Resort, where the sky's the limit.
It's easy to put off saving for retirement, but it can be even easier than you think to start. And once you do, you can feel more confident about your future. As a financial professional of Thrivent, let me help you define your financial goals and take realistic steps to help you reach them. It comes down to making choices about your money that match your values, because even small steps can get you where you want to go. Contact me, financial associate Andy Laris, at 701-509-5794.
Talking the deer archery season today on Outdoor Issues. And Greg, having that deer tag in your possession is vital, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's a new thing. What I did was you were able to apply for it fairly early. I've had mine for a couple months now because I knew I generally like to hunt that opening weekend, which is August 30th. Hunters should look at all the rules and regulations in the 2024 Deer Hunting Guide.
Good stuff, Greg. That brings this report to a close. Till next time, I'm Neil Roberts.
You've been listening to Outdoor Issues, brought to you in part by Skydancer Casino and Resort, where the sky's the limit. By Andy Laris, your Thrivent financial advisor in Minot. And enjoy a home-cooked meal at Homesteaders in Minot.
This is the Pet Minute. I'm Steve Dale with animal news from around the world. Next. Your dog loves going to the dog park and seeing his buddies. Maybe sometimes when you travel, he gets to hang out with friends at his favorite boarding facility. Social dogs like yours need more protection than most. By pairing Bordetella Protection, also known as kennel cough, with immunity against canine influenza, we can help ensure these dogs stay healthy. Merck Animal Health wants you to talk with your veterinarian about pairing up for protection with vaccines for your dog for kennel cough and the canine influenza virus. Don't wait. Vaccinate. Grandma thought she was losing her mind. She kept losing her things. She was missing plastic figurines, dish towels, a bra, even her dentures. The neurologist said, "You're fine." Grandma wasn't so sure. That was until her housekeeper noticed a treasure. Plastic figurines, a bra, hand towels, and dentures, all under the bed. The culprit, Pepper, her Yorkshire Terrier kleptomaniac. For the Pet Minute, I'm Steve Dale.
I don't know about you guys, but I always talk about I think a lot of people complain about the cost of their smart devices, the monthly fee.
Yeah.
I unfortunately, I go to the top end all the time. I think Alice and I, we probably spend $250 a month for our two devices. I don't know. Where are you and Marcy at, Jim?
It's pretty cool.
Okay.
Well, no, our smart device is probably, I think it's 140.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that if we shopped around a little bit, that I know we could save money. There's no doubt about it with what we have, but because of travel, I tend to me, it's about as much about the coverage as anything else. If you're very specific about an area that you need to have coverage for, and you look at a T-Mobile or whatever, and they're good in that area, and you don't travel away from that a lot, then by all means, you should have a lesser cost or less costly package. Their services, and I don't, again, we don't represent T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon or anybody, but that to me is always the big deal, is the coverage part of it,
Sure. Yeah.
To start with. But anyway, it's the amount of money you save with the device. How much money do you think you save on gasoline every month? Because now you can just drive exactly to where you need to go.
Never thought about it.
But you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you and I are both of an age where we used to like have maps, and you would guess and you'd miss turns and you'd do all of this stuff. The GPS in a phone is a huge asset and saves you a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, when you really think about that. The other thing, one of my favorite stories to tell is I was pulling into Rapid City late one evening, and late would be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that. And I didn't have a hotel yet. And I was on one of the travel websites or on their app, and I found one of these places that normally goes for $150, $200 a night had a room for like $75. And I'm like, last minute type of deal. I'm going to take that. Bang, I take it. I'm in their parking lot, by the way. So I go in, and then there's a couple in front of me, and they hadn't made a reservation either. And they were asking, well, what's the room rate? And she came back, and this is like 4 or 5, 6 years ago already. So she comes back and she's like, it's $169 a night. And they both look at each other and they say, well, we'll take that. And I wanted to scream at them and say, just go in the parking lot and use this app. You'll get it for $70, or whatever it was. Because I'm standing in line listening to this, and I just got that exact same room that they're getting for $169 for $70.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I mean, that's $100 I just saved right there because I had a device, and I got that reservation before I went in. So you do save a lot of money because you have your device. So I don't tend to, when I think about it that way with the cost of a smart device, I think about the money I save, not how much I spend.
Okay. Well, on the flip side of that, Marlo, I think COVID actually kind of caused this, but sometimes the data behind your searches is outdated. Like last Sunday, I leaving church, I Googled where brunch is near me.
Oh, yes.
It took me to a restaurant that probably had brunch at one point, but no longer did. And by the time I was there, it was like, well, we're not going somewhere else.
That sounds like a crazy, frustrating experience that I can relate to.
Talk of the town. Local, interesting. A lot of things going on with flood insurance in the Bismarck, Mandan area, and some things you need to know concerning the Missouri River, and some changes that have taken place. And, well, are you even going to be able to get flood insurance? Community events. Home Builders Association Parade of Homes going on. Started yesterday. We'll get the update on that as well this weekend on Supertalk 1270. Community organizations. I'm Steve Bakken along with Sarah Kelsch from the Bismarck Cancer Center. I want to talk about the mission and where the mission has gone for those that are served that are dealing with the cancer fight. What's going on in our community? That's Talk of the Town on Supertalk 1270. If you missed the show, check out the podcast on demand on the Supertalk 1270 mobile app.
Talk of the Town thanks our sponsors: Big Boy, Dakota Pharmacy, Benchmark Mortgage, Trademark Realty, Silver Ranch, and Runnings. Talk of the Town with Steve Bakken, Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 on Supertalk 1270 and the free Supertalk 1270 mobile app.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a town square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. First responders in Oregon on scene of a small plane crash just outside Portland.
When the small plane went down near the Troutdale Airport just east of Portland, the tower made a radio call to the fire department.
Crash approximately 2 miles west of the field. Big black smoke in a residential area.
That audio from Broadcastify. Witnesses saw the Cessna 421C go into a neighborhood of new homes, and then black smoke came up. Firefighters arrived on scene reporting.
We have heavy fire showing from the roof.
The FAA and NTSB say they will investigate. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Authorities in Mississippi say 7 people are dead, including a child, after a passenger bus crashed on an interstate overnight. More than 3 dozen others injured, the cause unknown. In Gaza, limited pauses in fighting began today today to help administer polio vaccines to children. The disease has resurfaced during the 11-month war between Israel and Hamas. This is ABC News. Tributes pouring in for NHL star Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew. Both were killed in an alleged drunk driver who is now under arrest. They were hit while riding bicycles in southern New Jersey and both preparing to be groomsmen in their sister's wedding this weekend. ABC's Ike Ajachi has more on his career and the life off the ice.
The 31-year-old, known as Johnny Hockey, was a 7-time All-Star during his 11 seasons in the NHL. Hockey, the unbreakable bond between the brothers, both played for Boston College, where they were recruited as a team. 29-year-old Matthew was the head hockey coach at their former high school. He and wife Madeline were expecting their first child together this winter.
Driver Sean Higgins made his initial court appearance yesterday. This holiday weekend, health officials urging people to take precautions when outdoors, with mosquito-borne viruses on the rise in parts of the country. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Meet Brian. Brian seems pretty typical. Hardworking, lives modestly, but has gotten a little behind with bills. Except Brian just got $5,000 deposited into his bank account. Yep, $5,000, and it was actually quite easy. I'll tell you how Brian did it in 30 seconds. Brian was in need of cash help. After being rejected by banks, family, and friends, he decided to try 27cash.com. He filled out their questionnaire in minutes right from his phone, listed how much he needed, and even let them know he had bad credit. Almost instantly, 27cash.com found a lender who approved him for $5,000. Brian now has cash to use however he wants. Pay bills, rent, or use it for a vacation. Best part, the money hit Brian's bank account the very next day. And just like that, Brian no longer needed cash help. If you need cash help for any reason, even if you have bad credit like Brian, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com.
Supertalk 1270, Bismarck area weather.
With your forecast, I'm Corey Hartman. For today, sunshine and windy with a high near 82. Winds about 25 to 30 out of the northwest this afternoon. For tonight, mostly clear, still a bit breezy with a low around 50 degrees. Sunny, high of 76 for Sunday. Labor Day, sunny, 84. If you're looking for a new place to live, stay, work, or play, check out Worthington, Minnesota. It's worth a look.
Right now, it's 82.
From ABC Sports, I'm Joey Waller. Right now, college football laid forth top-ranked Georgia crushing Clemson 34-3. Carson Beck, 2 TD tosses. Iowa 40, Illinois State nothing. Virginia Tech up 27-20 at Vanderbilt. Maryland 36-7 over UConn in the third. Tennessee walloping Chattanooga 48-3, delayed by severe weather at the half. It's Penn State in the lead, 20-6 at West Virginia. An Instagram message today to late Blue Jackets forward Johnny Gaudreau from his widow Meredith. Gaudreau and brother Matthew killed in that auto accident Thursday in New Jersey. In part, Meredith writing, quote, "I love you so much. You were perfect. Some days it felt too good to be true," unquote. The Gaudreau's coach at Boston College, Jerry York, reacting to the tragedy.
Johnny was a magical, but Matty just, his complete level, and he pushed his brother so much that they had a great bond between them.
Elsewhere, U.S. Open third-round stunner last night. Novak Djokovic upset by 28th seeded Australian Alexei Popyrin in 4 sets.
I mean, I didn't have any physical issues. I just felt out of gas, and you could see that with the way I played just from the very beginning, from the first match. I just didn't find myself at all on this court.
Third round today, top seed Yannick Sinner leads Christopher O'Connell 6-1, 5-4. The man who upset Carlos Alcaraz, Botic van de Schanskoop of the Netherlands, beaten by Jack Draper, and Jessica Pegula and Jasmine Polini win. WNBA last night, Fever cruise at Chicago. Caitlin Clark, a career-high 31.
I felt like it was just a smooth game for us. I just felt like we were flowing well out there. It just felt like pretty basketball. And sometimes I think as a basketball player, you can just feel it.
Interleague top 8, Cardinals lead the Yankees 6-1 behind Kyle Gibson, just resuming at the Tour Championship in Atlanta. The leader, Scotty Scheffler, 21 under. Joey Waller, ABC Sports.
not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Bills piling up? Rent due? Need cash help but have bad or no credit? Then you need to go to FastLoansAI.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 regardless of your credit score. FastLoansAI.com is one of the largest lender networks. Their advanced technology can help anyone get up to $10,000. Best part? Money can be in your bank account as fast as the same day. When you need fast cash, go to FastLoansAI.com. That's FastLoansAI.com.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit,
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Talk of the Town with Steve Bakken. Weekday mornings starting at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app.
Portions of the following program are pre-recorded.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch, everybody. Our newly elected mayor, Jim Freilich, is in studio, and I'm going to butcher what he does again, but Mitch Bitts, he's our acting public works director, but he's also our fire chief here in Mandan. So I did it right this time.
That's perfect.
All right. Perfect. Anyway, Jim, you were just talking about potential the cost of insurance. I mean, will that play a factor as well if you have an electric vehicle or electric bike? And I thought that was really interesting. So continue on with that.
Well, I'm just wondering if this electric battery fire potential, how insurance companies view it. And obviously, actuarially, there'll need to be a number of them, right, to tip the scale on your homeowner's insurance, where they say, well, your insurance went up $1,000 or something. So and
I think, Mitch,
I think we've talked about that at the round table at
I believe we
coffee.
Have. Yes. I think the other thing that's interesting too is if you have an electric vehicle, and if you have wired your house properly, and for example, if you have a charging station in your house, and I'll just pick on Tesla because they're the most popular here. They have a Tesla battery as well that you can put in. That's 50 milliamp hours or 80 milliamp hours, and they run anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000. And you can, basically it's like an uninterruptible power supply where you have regular electricity coming into them, and then this big battery runs your house. So you have this conditioned power that runs your house. It's on the appliance side, on all your electronics in your house. You couldn't ask for a better scenario because the electricity is always the same. It's always the same voltage coming into your appliances. If you just plug it into your wall and it's not conditioned like most people have, it can range dramatically. I mean, you get a wire whipping somewhere and all of a sudden you have 80 and then you have 130. And if you ever look, and I'm not trying to get so technical, everybody, but if you ever look at like your television, it'll state that it's 110. But if you look at the specs, it'll say it can work at 70, it can work up to 150 because they build this in. But it's tough on these electronics. The thinking that I have here, though, you are equipped, or you're thinking about how you're going to equip yourself to handle car fires. But more and more people are putting these things in their homes to run their homes, to charge their cars and that type of thing too. This really changes how you fight fires at the house, I would think, as well.
It does, yeah. And we're continuing to evaluate and to train on those different technologies. And, solar panels.
Yes.
We're putting those actually on one of our city facilities at the beginning of this week.
Okay.
And, you got inverters. We don't have batteries in this system, but
You're going to have to though somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're always looking at that technology and continuing to train on it, and I'm excited because it's going to continue to grow, be more and more.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I think that people, again, we're very blessed here. People don't understand that when I say it's 8.9 cents a kilowatt hour for power here, I mean, it can be 40, 50, 60 cents. When you charge a car in California, it's around 60 cents a kilowatt hour. And there's not really at that level, unless your gas is $7 a gallon, which I guess it is there in some spots. If you get downtown LA, it is. And at that level, it's still cheaper to charge a car than it is to put fuel in it. But if you're in that $5 a gallon range, or $4 a gallon at 60 cents a kilowatt hour, you're actually paying more for electricity than you are if you have a 25 mile per hour or 25 mile per gallon vehicle.
Interesting.
So because we're at 9 cents a kilowatt hour, it's going to probably cost you $10 to drive to Fargo with your electric vehicle because of the cheap cost of electricity here. But there's going to be a day that's going to go up. I mean, we're not going to be blessed that much longer, in my opinion, because our electrical consumption in the state is going through the roof because of data centers and cryptocurrency type of scenarios that are being built everywhere. And I think we're going to see a significant price increase in the near future. There's no doubt about it. So both of them are now quiet.
Well, you were talking about data center, and we had a discussion about that the other day, and we don't have the energy.
We don't.
For a large data center.
Well, I'm going to pose a question to the two of you. So the age of AI is here. And AI, they figure in order to keep up with the growth of AI, we need to produce 2 to 3 times as much electricity as we do now, just for AI. Think about that, right? So in the scenario we are right now, where we're not producing more electricity and the temperature in North Dakota gets to be 100 degrees, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days in a row, air conditioners are running like crazy, and all of a sudden there's not enough power to power your air conditioner or your AI. What do you think's going to win?
I can tell you my house. It's going to be the air conditioner.
Well, but you don't have that. You don't have the choice. That's the thing. Who because AI is going to be running everything. It's going to be running all the government services. It's going to be running our safety monitoring for war. I mean, all of this stuff is going to be artificial intelligence. And as a result, in my opinion anyway, that will always win.
Well, I would not fund the cyborgs for the war, the upcoming war. But I would say, I'll be back. Right? He's back. I would think, okay, so who's paying the most is going to get the juice, right?
That's an interesting scenario. Yeah.
But then you have to say, well, is the Public Service Commission going to prioritize? Because they're protecting the citizens.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And you could say that AI is protecting the citizens too.
In the war, upcoming war that you've described, I guess I'm taking a little liberty with
I'm only thinking that, AI is going to be running public services, so you're running water and all these other things that you have come to depend on.
Yeah. That there's a lot of technology up at the water intake.
There is, and that's the interesting part about our job. We utilize the technology, but we always have to build in that backup, that worst case scenario. Think of the black swan.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
and prepare for it. And sometimes that costs money, which is hard to do.
Well, gentlemen, I hate to see you go because it's been a lot of fun, and I hope I can have you back on the show again. We can talk more about city technology and the world around us. Mayor Jim and Mitch Bitts has been our guest here today. Thanks, gentlemen. We really appreciate you being on the Tech Ranch.
Thank you, Marlo. It's been a pleasure.
So
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And we're back with the Tech Ranch. Get ready for more amazing tech insights from the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And welcome back to the Tech Ranch. Steve and I are finally together.
Is that like A and I, but with me?
They're This place has been so busy lately that there
It's smarter, I'm better looking. Is that how?
all of that.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. I guess I was just lucky. Had Sarah Browers in for the travel writer.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was cool, and it was great to have her in.
Sweet lady, really,
she really is, and it's fun that. So she was actually
she's got stories like you.
She was actually on vacation.
You know what she doesn't have though?
What doesn't she have?
She doesn't have a yarbo.
Because she's never home.
I threw that in last week.
Not having a yarbo or having a yarbo when you're not home a whole lot.
Perfect.
It'd be perfect for that, right?
But no, she was on vacation. So
well, she chose to come here for vacation. She's a travel writer. This is what she does for a living, and she came to Mandan, North Dakota.
Just cause.
Well, she did a few other things too, but she spent a lot of time in North Dakota. Yeah, I just thought that was cool.
Did the Medora and.
Yeah, did Medora. She stayed out in the Bighorns.
Did she double up with South Dakota and do the Black Hills?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that come from a coast or somewhere else.
Yeah, she's in Iowa.
Yeah. But they'll do
a loop. They
do the loop. They don't just come to North Dakota or don't just come to South Dakota.
Right.
They'll do the loop.
Right. So, yeah, that was cool. Of course, really privileged to have Mayor Jim Freilich from Mandan, our new elected mayor here. And then Mitch Bitts was also on with him too. So you didn't catch all of this, but we talked a lot about the technology to run a city.
Oh, yeah, I know that firsthand.
Yes, you do. So, and it was
funny because when I got elected mayor for Bismarck, and I'm like, why do you need me to drive down? And I was there a lot, but I'm like, okay, you need me to drive down to City Hall to sign something. Why do we not have DocuSign?
Right.
Why do we not have technology being able to make life a little easier?
Yeah.
And it took a year and a half to get it implemented. I'm like, why is this taking so long? But we got it done.
Yep. Yeah. It's just government.
And that was simple. That was a simple thing.
Yeah. Imagine difficult things, but I know you had to deal with as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was fun actually. And just fun talking through the conversion from like streetlights, the old light bulbs
to the LEDs.
And,
and through that in Bismarck. Yeah. Actually, they're still switching them over.
It's amazing the dollar savings that cities see. I mean, there's a lot of money put into the changeover because there's the cost of the lights and the labor to put them in. But Mitch figured that 10 to 12 years would be the ROI on that. And when these, and of course, these light bulbs last for a long time too. So once you have that paid, oh my goodness.
There's a lot of infrastructure pieces that, whether it's on water or sewer or new materials for roads and how they measure those metrics.
You talked about all of that. It's amazing you brought that up.
It's amazing where you can go, this little tweak, this little change, this little mindset paradigm shift, and you can save taxpayers a lot of dollars.
I thought the most interesting...
When trying to get staff sometimes.
Oh, yes.
It's like,
So we talked about how a pothole is formed. I knew the freezing, the thawing, the cracks in the road, that type of thing. But the one thing I never thought about is hydraulics that are involved.
Oh, yeah.
This. The
hydraulics.
You got water on a crack, right? So it's the water's coming off of a roof of a building, or there's some that pile come up because it rains outside or snow melting or whatever it is. And that vehicle drives over the top of it and forces that water into that crack. And it's just.
But a lot of people don't think about how important crack sealing is.
Yes.
And when you have a road redone, there's maintenance that needs to take place with that road. And that crack sealing component is one of the biggest pieces to extend the life of that road to save taxpayers dollars.
Never even thought about
materials that go into those cracks nowadays too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just all kinds of tech going on. So. It was cool stuff. Really, really interesting. So spam calls. I see you're getting spam calls.
I don't know what's going on, but there seems to have been an uptick. And one of my favorite ones, and I have Verizon.
Okay.
And Verizon used to be really good. It's like spam. You get the little spam meter. It's like, yep, don't answer that one. No. And then I started missing some calls that weren't spam. Like, interesting. And now I'm getting calls that are spam, but they don't come up.
The spam alert's not going off.
Yeah, the spam alert's not going off. It's just a regular number. And it's not necessarily the North Dakota numbers either, which are the skim calls.
Right.
One of the new ones that's out there right now is, hey, blah, 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 whatever. And you need to go to WhatsApp to get, so they're using different apps and AI calls.
Yeah.
Spam AI has gotten ridiculous.
It's not going to get any better either.
No, it's going to get a lot worse.
My guess is that they're utilizing AI to probably even get around. I mean, they're using AI to think
hack
about
the system. AI.
That's exactly where I was going with that. Yep. They figured out ways to get around the spam tip off on your screen. So yeah, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, I think, in this realm of AI. No doubt about it. And it's tough. It's getting tougher all the time to tell the difference between AI voices and human voices.
And what's the solution? Where's the salvation? Because the only place I see that there could be a savior to AI is embracing more AI and letting AI combat AI when it comes to the scam.
So this will be the start of the AI wars?
Yeah.
And it all started with spam.
It's like the Infinity Wars with AI.
50 years from now, when they talk about the AI wars, it all started because they were trying to figure out a way to stop spam on phone calls. So they let AI fight AI.
Well, and right now they're trying to free up more energy for AI because AI soaks up a ton of energy. And have you seen that Jeff Bezos, a lot of the green people that were behind green economy, and that they're going, wait a minute, stop. We need more power. And the only way we're going to do that is fossil fuels and coal.
Wow.
And nuclear. So now they're all in. It's like, no, we need this for AI. Because it's going to come down to, do you want to heat your home or do you need your AI?
Yeah. And you and I have talked about that before. And I think that in most cases, AI will win. And that's what's scary about this.
Well, when AI is controlling the system, AI is not going to shut AI off.
Well, and that's right. That's exactly right.
This little infestation of carbon-based life forms, we need to shut them off.
They're consuming too much cooling right now. They're just bye-bye.
You've returned to the Tech Ranch, where technology is our passion. Let's jump back into the conversation with Marlo and Steve.
So I was going somewhere with the spam thing.
Oh, yeah? I love spam, by the way. I do like spam.
I've heard this. Is spam the official food of Hawaii, by the way?
I believe it is. I know there's a lot of it over there.
Oh, they love it. And if you go to Vegas, they actually have restaurants
there too.
That's true. They have restaurants in Vegas that are they're spam restaurants. They actually have the whole menu of varieties of
Austin, Minnesota,
sandwiches,
home
whatever.
of spam.
Yeah. And I know
spam.
Yeah, I like it with like spam and eggs. Scrambled eggs is great.
See, I love fried spam. I really do.
I haven't had a fried spam sandwich in a long time.
Good.
Has to be thinly sliced for me, though.
And then throw an egg on there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Kind of like ham, but
I've heard rumors you have some type of recipe.
Actually, I did come up with a spam recipe. So I was
not to make spam, but to actually have
a recipe with spam.
Yeah,
I was playing around in the kitchen and went, what can I make with spam? Because I had a can of spam there. I'm like, what can I make? So I call it spaminy grits. So you take, I had hominy grits and I had spam. So I made spaminy grits.
How was it?
Really good. Really, really good.
Spaminy grits.
Well, I played with it too because there's a difference. You can either slice spam, grind spam, cube spam, different.
Yeah.
However you present it, it makes a difference on how it cooks and flavor. Believe it or not.
I
like sliced and fried myself, but the spaminy grits, very small cubes, and that was my.
I'm bringing a camera over. We're going to mic you up. We need to get
a video. Spaminy grits?
Yes, we're going to get a video of you making spaminy grits. And I'm going to feature this video on National Spam Day. Oh, there's a spam day.
Oh, there's a spam. Well,
yes.
Is there a grits day?
There is.
It's got to be a grits day.
I don't think so.
You're neglecting our southern friends.
I don't mean to do that. We do have Scrapple. So we haven't
really
totally, have you ever had Scrapple?
No.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good too.
What's Scrapple?
It's it's a southern meat. It's a pork base too. Oh my goodness, it's.
Pick it up on the side of the road next to the rack.
No. It's kind of like Spam.
The armadillo?
But it's not.
It's not armadillo base?
Not. Why are they always upside down with their feet up?
They're sleeping.
Okay.
They're not dead. They're sleeping. That's how they sleep.
They sleep upside down with their feet
up in a ball, yeah.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
So you don't know if they're dead or not along the side of the road?
A lot. Yeah. Go try to pick one up.
No, that's okay. I would imagine what that would go like.
Don't try to pick up a possum if you think one's sleeping or dead. They're mean. Possums are mean. Tasty, but mean.
What you have a recipe for possum?
No, but I have a friend who possum hunts, raccoon hunts. He's made me try some of the craziest stuff you could imagine. I'm like, all right. I just tell myself it's going to taste like chicken. Not all of it does, but
I'm sorry for all of you who've tuned in for the Tech Ranch.
So in the kitchen of the future, when you push one button and it pulls stuff out of the fridge and puts in the stove and mixes stuff together and makes all your dinner,
right?
Because it's one piece for your entire kitchen. Will there be possum in the fridge?
I wonder if there'll just be a possum button. You push the button. Or your AI will look at your fridge, because you can do that now. I mean, I'll go into AI and I'll say I have eggs, I have cheese, I have peppers, I have blah, blah, blah in the fridge. What can I make from it? It will actually create. This is a cool thing about AI that you can use right away with ChatGPT. And it'll give you a list of the things that you can make with the ingredients you have in your fridge.
So with my AI phone,
yes,
you can take a picture and go, all right, give me a recipe with all these.
Probably.
Yeah, give me a recipe with all those ingredients that are in the fridge
and
or on the counter.
That's kind of a cool thing. It's a good way to maybe get rid of
leftovers.
Yeah, or if you have some
creative ways to get rid of leftovers.
I think it's a cool thing. So I'm not really sure how many possum recipes there will be in this.
I never saw a possum come out of the replicator, the food replicator on Star Trek.
That is true. Yeah,
I think they were missing out.
Probably.
But with AI, which brings up an interesting question, though. With AI, how far are we away from that technology? Because
food replicators?
Well, so with AI, they have the ability to break down, okay, you need proteins and carbs and this and this and this. And with AI, you can put it in the box and it'll come up with whatever. And how far away are we from...
I think we're quite a ways away from that.
Because it's going to be kind of like in space with the astronauts, which we'll talk about the issues they've had this week. In space, it's like everything's in tubes. So if you have the basic component in a tube and AI / whatever invention can just make whatever out of those basic ingredients.
Yeah. I mean, this is, there's 3D food printers.
Right.
And that's kind of, I think, what will happen.
You still have not got the 3D chocolate printer in here yet.
But they are making cartridges now for food printers. And these cartridges hold certain ingredients.
Yeah.
And then it mixes it together.
So how far are we away from that? I think we're closer than you think.
Well, the actual food replicator, like you see in Star Trek, I think we're farther away. Because I think that technology is relatable to the Beam Me Up Scotty technology. I mean, that all kind of falls into the same space. And that's challenging. Although not as beaming something or creating something like that is not as challenging as moving somebody through the air and recompiling them on the other side so that they're still living and they know who they are, right? I mean, that's a whole nother thing than just saying, give me a cup of hot chocolate.
It's not like when Scotty was inventing transwarp.
Right,
yeah,
right. The whole...
I'm not sure what the Admiral's dog is yet. Could you imagine? It's like there's all these elementary kids out there that are someday will not know the joys of the lunch lady.
That's true.
That's sad.
It is sad.
I loved my lunch lady. She had extra pudding.
Yeah.
Out of the can.
Yeah.
The big can.
It'll just be robots. You'll have
can opener on the
You'll have to befriend the robot that's serving you.
Rosie the robot?
I watched the Jetsons.
Did you?
It's on Hulu now. It says, and I'm scrolling through Hulu and I'm like, the Jetsons? So I hop, and there was no Astro in the first episode either. I didn't realize that till you just said that. It was just a family. And they were, Jane is being overworked, pushing those buttons. It was giving her some type of finger, whatever, disease. And so they went out and they were interviewing robots. And this is how Rosie came into the picture. So in the very first episode, there was no Astro.
I remember the interviewing for Rosie. I didn't realize there wasn't an Astro.
No, not in the first episode.
Where did he come in?
It was delightfully fun. I really enjoyed watching the Jetsons. It was a primetime show back in '62. So
really,
yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. Let's get back to discovering the latest in technology with the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
All right, let's talk a little tech. You said we have, yeah.
Ooh, they had a bad week.
Tell me all about it. You got to bring me up to date here.
It went up, and they got I think there was 27 satellites on the Link satellites.
So the
Starlink satellites that took the payload, and the first, because the boosters come back in sections, right, and then they sit down on, and the first booster came back and sat down on the pad and tipped over.
Well, that has
fiery crash, yeah. But
not on. Was it on a pad or on a boat?
It was on the pad.
Okay, so I don't know if it's ever tipped over on the pad. I know on the boat it's tipped over because the one time there was some high sea.
That's hard with the waves.
Yeah.
But this is the first time it's tipped over, I believe, on the pad.
Okay, interesting.
And it got me thinking. It's like, okay, everything that's going on with space, and they're talking about this.
Was it a singular booster or was there two? Okay,
single.
Okay,
and they were talking about the first mission for NASA that's coming up with no astronauts.
Right.
And they're going to do a spacewalk. And then and with all the issues Boeing's having, and now NASA had to book 2 seats on SpaceX. Hey, by the way, we need to book 2 seats, and can you bring our astronauts home? They're stuck. I'm like, it got me thinking, because back in the day when the space program was first kicking off, and if you go back and look at the history, and the media didn't report all this because they didn't know it. There was almost something critical that happened on every mission that they had to scramble and fix, and NASA, because they're the smartest people on the planet, fixed it. And so you didn't hear about it. And the tragedies that did take place with the capsule that caught on fire and the drowning, and some of those, there would have been a lot more. There would have been a lot more because there was something that happened on almost every mission. And I got thinking, it's like, well, now it's like, oh, well, booster tipped over. No big deal. We got 2 astronauts stuck. No big deal. It's like, I get the sense that the mentality has changed behind it, but is it any safer than what it was then compared to now? It got me thinking about that. And look how far the technology has come, but you're still apt to mishaps that could be catastrophic.
Well, you're riding on a bomb.
Yes.
And there's no other way to put it. So, of course, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. But I think they have a better understanding and,
management. It's crisis management is better, I think. It's like, because it's like, oh, well, we got 2 astronauts stuck. It's like, no big deal. We'll get them back eventually.
That's right. I mean,
that's the mentality where
it is.
Where in the past, it was like, oh, we got to scramble her because they're going to run out of air, or they're going to do this, or they're going to burn up, or everything was in a crisis mode.
Right.
Now it seems like, oh, well,
it's just 2 astronauts. We'll figure it out.
We'll get them back.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. We got options.
They do have
That's
options.
just it. They got options.
Yeah. It's interesting that they can just call Elon and say, hey, can we get 2 seats? We got some astronauts to bring back. Oh,
base Uber.
Well, didn't I see
that rate
wasn't was it Virgin that was going back up now? And they're bringing, they're going higher than anybody has in quite some time. And it's a space tourism run. So people.
Well, and that was kind of the direction Richard Branson went with the Virgin Galactic.
That's correct.
It was like, he was more delving into the tourism, not the meat and potatoes of moving cargo or putting satellites. It was like, nah, we're going to do tourism.
Yeah.
That was the focus. And that's the craft that was built, was more in that capacity.
And people were willing to pay. And I think eventually, I mean, there's always been talk of you go into low orbit to get around the country or around the world a little faster. You know, you get up there and you can cruise much faster and, be across the world in a couple hours as opposed to the 12 to 14 to 16 it takes now to fly. I mean, I'm flying to London on next Sunday now, I guess it is.
Cheerio.
Yes. And I think Minneapolis.
Actually, when you're over there,
10 hours.
Do they eat Cheerios in England?
Should I ask?
You should ask.
I'm just going to go to the store and see if I can buy some Cheerios.
Can
you say this for me, please?
They say Cheerio.
I'm going to walk down the street with a box of Cheerios. Can you tell me what it says on the box, please? Cheerio.
Are they even called Cheerios over there?
They're just called round oatmeal cereal.
Yeah.
With the holes in it. Maybe they're called donuts. Oh, donuts.
No.
No?
That would be wrong.
Yeah.
Mini oat donuts.
Mini oat donuts. Mini oats. Mini oats would be a good name for.
But that would be a quick flight if you went up to.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
hopefully you wouldn't have a connection.
My guess is it would be maybe an hour and a half, So, yeah, it would be amazing. And I know that's where he's wanting to go as far as transport goes. And, of course, people will pay the extra big dollars for the faster and the fact that you get to go into space.
Do you remember what those flights cost when they first
came
out with those?
Millions.
Like, wasn't it like $20 million?
It was big because you were basically the first passengers ever to go into space.
Yeah.
Shatner was gifted one. That was a big publicity stunt, but
you would think the price will come down.
Of course it will.
I mean, I think it's $5 million now or something like that.
I don't know the number. Yeah, but it will. There'll be a time when maybe even you and I can afford to go to space.
That might be a diet plan. I could always lose 10 pounds.
If that's what it takes.
If I go to space. Done.
Finally, I'm at the weight I've always wanted to be, 13 pounds. I can see it already.
Don't oversell or undersell the lack of gravity.
You think I weigh too much? I float all the time. What are you talking about? Yeah. That would be so funny.
Stop calling me Big Bone.
Yeah,
float.
I float. I guess blimp would fit into that description, though.
Yeah, maybe. So,
oh my goodness.
Anyway, that was the question. I just with what's been going on in the space world, it's like the mindset has changed. So it's no longer, we have options.
Every time I go to Florida, I look at the launch schedule, and there's always one going on. I mean, I can almost always fit, if I'm down there for a week or so, I can almost always fit a launch watch into my schedule now. That's how often they occur.
But are you spoiled and always have to go out in the boat now?
No, not spoiled that way.
Okay.
Although that was
cool.
That was quite the experience to watch that. So, oh my goodness. The show's almost done.
It is. That was quick.
That was quick. So you have a great rest of the week. And
I will too. Yeah.
So any plans?
Nope. My Labor Day is going to consume with honey-do list things.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice. Jetting off to Washington myself to see some family. So
there you go.
Will be fun.
Well, have a safe trip.
I will do. I'll
talk to Richard Branson. You get there quicker.
I will do that.
And that's a wrap on another fantastic episode of the Tech Ranch. Remember, if you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology.